Hello and welcome to Crystal Hall 3 here in Baku, Azerbaijan. So here we go with quarterfinal number 1 in the men's category. And, well, there'll be a lot of interest in the UK here and also in Russia. This is probably one of the ties of the round. The men's minus 68 kilogram category has been absolutely decimated in the bottom half of the draw. 3 of the 4 seeds have gone, including Survey Tazagul of Turkey. And here we come, because we've got a bout and a half about to come. Great Britain's Martin Stamper, world rank number 19. A real hope for Rio for Great Britain. He's got a really tough match because he is facing the world number 1. And the man, well, he took a silver medal at the World Championships just recently in Russia. Lost to Tazagul in that final. It's Alexey Denisenko. John, this is definitely the tie of this, I think this is the tie of all the quarterfinals, men or women. These two are both very good fighters.
Absolutely, no question about it. Denisenko in his own right, world class, as you said, top pedigree coming into great world championships, and he's a real handful. But Martin Stamper on his game can cause trouble for anyone. I mean, London Olympic Games, got to the semi-finals, lost against Tazagul Servet, who, as you said, departed earlier in the games. But yeah, Stamper has that quality, and it's all about how he starts. It's about his focus and concentration at the start. If he can keep it tight at the start, he's got a right good chance here.
Stamper's already had a great result in his first round. He beat somebody higher ranked than him, a man who was a silver medalist at the 2010 and 2012 Euros, Filip Grigic of Croatia. So that's a great result to start with Stamper, but now the level's moved on even higher.
Absolutely, and I watched that match against Filip Grigic, and he was excellent, Martin Stamper. His back kick was working really well, and as you mentioned, there's the back kick that he's tried to throw there. That is a 3-point shot, and he's going to need that because Denisenko's a bigger fighter. Good double attempt from Denisenko, but well blocked by Stamper.
Denisenko, bronze medalist at the 2012 Games. Well, and certainly a man to fear. World number 1. You don't get to be world number 1 without winning a lot of matches and a lot of big events as well. And he gets on the score already. That was a secondary move with the foot there, wasn't it? Came in with the initial attack and then hit Stamper very hard with a secondary move. And that's been one of the new features in the sport we've noticed a lot in recent times, that it's not just the initial kick, it's the secondary kick that can score.
Stamper just obviously being aware of that, just having to block, take his tin. There's a step through back kick from Martin Stamper, doesn't score, but a shot across the bows of Denisenko.
Denisenko blocked that away well.
Stamper just changing angles there. He's just having to move around the ring just to avoid the long limbs there. Almost firing one into the flank there. Tries again with the punch. And Denisenko is going to take that Kyungo.
Stamper actually wasn't due to be competing in this event. It was Ruben Richards of Great Britain who was down for this event, and then he got injured in training for this. And really unfortunate, really feel sorry for Ruben. That's terrible news. And you know, that may hurt him in terms of Rio qualification as well, because there's a big chunk of points here on offer. This is treated as what's known as a G4 event, so a lot of points. And Denisenko, just with the bottom of the foot, gets another point.
And almost scores a head kick there. He seemed to rock the jaw back of Martin Stamper, and I think we're going to see either a video replay. No, the judges are going to take care of it. I like this movement in the rules. Yeah. Instead of having to get the video replay card out and take about 25 minutes to find out what's going on and check the laptop, the judges, who are the experts, did they see it from this vantage point? Well, let's have a look. He jumps up here, Denisenko. This shot there, yeah, pokes the chin.
And you can see just the helmet is over the nose, so there's no doubt that there was a contact. Now, Great Britain are going to play a card now. This is a really dangerous card to play. And
well, Stephen Jennings, the British coach, he's making a judgment call here. Yeah. He's trying to say that the contact should be scored only by the head guard. He's saying that there's no contact to the face, but he doesn't have the vantage point that we do, Adrian.
Well, they are able to see this replay on the big screen now, and I'm sure they would have seen that. And, you know, I think this could be an example of totally throwing the card away when you really might need it later on down the line, because Steve Jennings, if he's seen that on the big screen, surely he's going to have seen that contact, and he's going to have seen that Stamper's helmet was half over his face, and that doesn't get there by just your own momentum. And they're going to have a good look at this, because I think the officials there realise Jennings is just having a look at the big screen behind him. It is a...
Yeah, Mohamed Agroubi and Thomas Bossert in the middle. They're studying the action. They're looking for that face contact. From our vantage point, and for everyone watching at home, it certainly looked like it, but yeah, Mohamed Agroubi in the corner. Let's see what he's got to say on this one. And this could be a very, very significant 5-0 at the end of the first is a tough one. Yep, you called it right, yeah. Adrian.
And the trouble is now that Great Britain don't have a card. We're still only in the first. And there could be a major instant later on where Stamper gets a face hit on Denisenko and there's no card to play.
Yep, and I'm sure Denisenko could care less, because he's looking at it thinking, happy days here, a card down, 5 points up. It's been a textbook start for the Russian. And Martin Stamper, as I said before, he has all the skills, he has all the ability, and if he can stay close, then he's got the talent to execute. But Denisenko, as you rightly said, Adrian, world #1 for a reason.
Yeah. And, well, what a first round that was. 5 points to his name. His opponent's lost his video card. And, you know, I think Steve Jennings may look back on that and sort of regret, with hindsight, tactically. You know, we have seen some coaches have really used the card in a very clever way and actually decide that, hold on a minute, that probably was the kick. You know, it was close. It's not worth gambling a card. And we may see, you know, I think we've both seen matches on the circuit where a card has been needed later on. In fact, I remember Mohamed Cho lose. In fact, no, it was a Stamper match in the United States where Stamper wasted his card early in the first and actually needed it in the third in the US Open this year in Florida, and the card wasn't there to use. And in fact, Steve Jennings was in the corner at that particular moment as well.
Well, the cards are on the table, but the only thing that matters at the moment, Denisenko jumps up, takes the shot. Martin Stamper tries the same with the reverse turning kick, almost walks into a headshot there. Good push kick from the Russian. The big man in blue just forcing his foot into the centre of the body protector. Of course, the sensors are on the socks and on the body protectors. And Denisenko being the more accurate so far. Stamper expansive, but ineffective just at this moment.
Yes, Denisenko collecting another point again, and Stamper trying to use the spinning kicks. Denisenko shows he's got that in his repertoire as well, and scores another point with the foot that pushes Stamper out. And there's the Kyungo 8-0 to the world #1.
And from there not being a massive difference in technical competency, it's just been match management.
Yeah.
And of course, you have to remember Martin Stamper comes in as a late replacement for Ruben Richards, and he did have a good run into it against Filip Ridžić in the morning, but at this stage here, Denisenko, well, he's been too good, too big as well, and Martin Stamper's distance hasn't had a chance to get going.
Yeah. Stamper from Liverpool. Runs at the World Championships. As far goes 2011, so he's been around a fair little while. Takes a painful one there.
Yep, just a flying side kick attempt there from Denisenko. Obviously landing low, and he's going for it again. He knows that if he's up off the ground, he's very, very hard to hit. But the referee very smart there, knowing that he's actually just killing the clock by doing that.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, we're in that stage now, 9-1 up. Denisenko knows his opponent's dangerous, and the clock is not Stamper's friend at all now.
There's a couple of things that are worth watching here, because Martin Stamper's technique is to spin because it's worth more points, but that's very dangerous when people are points up, and that's a spinning shot there. Oh.
Well, a spinning shot, so the extra 2 points added automatically.
Yeah, good one from Martin Stamper for himself there. He's kept himself in this. He's 12 points down though, Adrian.
Yeah. Stamper goes off out of court when I think he suspected he was going to get another point scored. There's a punch. Both athletes scoring freely. Stamper won his match 18-13 in the first round, so you know he's got no problem scoring, but you could possibly say his defence is not as good as it needs to be, right at this very top level. He conceded 13 points to Grigic. He's 16 points here in 2 rounds. And, is that something, if you were a coach, that you would probably take away from this event?
It's a difficult thing for Martin Stamper to assess it, assess it, objectively, because he is a late replacement coming in. In terms of form, in terms of fitness, he may not be quite on the money, but even at his very best, Denisenko's a nightmare to fight, and this is why. He's all over the court, he's up in the air, and he's very athletic and brave. And that's the thing, is that you mentioned the porous defence that Stamper can suffer from. It's mostly concentration sometimes for fighters, not for Martin Stamper in particular, because you want to get in and score a point. You leave the door open, and the big Russian has... Look at this. I mean, you can see for yourself the quality that he's got. Yeah.
If there's one consolation here for Stamper, and it's going to be really difficult to see him come back, is that there is every likelihood with Denisenko on this form that he will make the final. And
that's a good shout.
Excellent chance for Stamper to be aiming for a bronze medal through the repechage system. So Stamper will have Denisenko will probably be in a semi-final in 2 minutes' time with that sort of score, unless Stamper does something quite incredible in this third period.
And he does have it within him to do it, Martin Stamper. He's very creative. He's tried in there with a step 360 back kick. This is one of his favourite techniques, which is just to step and then spin and then throw your legs out at the end, much like Denisenko did just there. So he won't give up without a fight here, and he's brave on it, Martin. Always has been.
Yeah. There's 11 points difference. Of course, if we get a 12-point difference, then the referee will automatically stop. There's a punch for Stamper. He's known for that in the sport. He's always been a great puncher. And that brings us back to a 10-point difference. That Stamper needs seriously a head kick very quickly, and Denisenko just picks another point off. It's like picking oranges off a tree, isn't he?
No, he's so accurate, and that's the thing, is that accuracy comes from composure, which comes from preparation, match fitness, and so on. And Stamper just looking a little bit ragged here, understandable, but that is the gap.
The 12-point gap. Alexey Denisenko from Russia, the world #1, has just given us an absolute masterclass of Taekwondo. How good was that? And Martin Stamper, who is no pushover whatsoever, has just been made to look rather ordinary in that bout. Superb performance from the Russian. He progresses through to the semi-final. Stamper doesn't know what his future holds. He has to wait to see if Denisenko wins his semi. The Russian wins this bout by 18 points to 6.